Gude! I'm a big fan of Piper TTS as a locally running, fast, open source text-to-speech solution. It runs on CPU, even on small devices like a Raspberry Pi. And back in 2023, I made a couple of videos about and how to use it, even how to clone your own voice. Quite a bit has changed in the last 3 years, and I know a lot of you have been asking for an update. So here we are. I mean, it just took 3 years. I've been in contact with Mike Hansen, the creator of Piper, and he shared some really interesting insights, which I will go through in the first part of this video. And it is getting even better. He offered me to do a short interview. So if you have any questions, drop them in the comment box below and I will try to include them in my conversation with Mike. So this video today will focus on what has changed since 2023 and how you actually use TTS in Piper today. There will be a second video specifically about voice cloning. And in the first part of this video, it's just me talking to you about what has changed and sharing some of Mike's feedback he gave me. The second part of this video will be screen recording or screen sharing, where I will show and install how to run and install Piper. Whoa! And I will add some timestamps so you can just hop on and you know. And before I continue to struggle during the intro, let's start with number 1. Moving from Rhasspy to Open Home Foundation. Originally, Piper TTS was part of the Rhasspy open source voice tech toolkit project on GitHub. But this repository has been archived, has been made read-only by October 2025, and development moved over to the Open Home Foundation. And if you do not know them, they are the organization behind Home Assistant, this famous smart home software, and Nabu Casa. Number 2. Active development and roadmap. Piper is still under active development, but it is also looking for new or additional maintainers. Right now, Mike is basically a one-man show. So if you are into that field of open source TTS technology development, this is probably one of those projects where your help is actually needed. So please contact Mike or the Open Home Foundation if you are interested. There's also some quite interesting in the background happening. A very early preview of Piper version 2. Right now the main version is 1.x whatever. One idea behind Piper 2 is to remove the dependency on eSpeakNG as phonemizer to make it easier to adjust pronunciation easily, then moving to C++ based architecture and switch to an Apache 2 license. And I will come to the license issue in a moment. By now, Piper version 2 is still very early, some sort of prototype stage. But Mike is hoping to get it into a more usable state by the end of 2026. And in the long term, Piper 2 is obviously going to replace Piper version 1. When it comes to the roadmap, there is currently no fixed roadmap because the idea is to build that roadmap together with whoever will step into this additional maintainer role. One important information on the roadmap is that Mike is not trying to jump onto all that new game changer hyped AI voice features, but more to add more and more languages to provide a pretty good basic, fast, local, without any GPU power running text-to-speech for hopefully as much languages as possible, instead of focusing on 2 or 3 major languages and then adding one hyped feature after another. Next, let's talk on the license change from MIT to GPL version 3. So this change from the old repository from the Rhasspy project from MIT to GPL version 3 on the Open Home Foundation repository. According to Mike, this was mainly to respect the eSpeakNG license, even though it might not have been strictly required. And with Piper 2, the plan is to move to Apache 2 license, which makes it easier, especially for commercial usage. Next, Piper executables versus Python integration. One of the biggest practical changes is how you actually use Piper. While moving to the OpenHome Foundation, there are by now no binaries for operating systems, but it is planned to add binaries again. For today, the focus is much more Python-based. According to Mike, most users probably don't actually use Piper directly, but integrate and embed it into other software projects like Home Assistant or screen reading tools. But again, standalone binaries are planned, but not the highest priority right now, because the existing binaries from the original Rhasspy-based GitHub repository should still work. But we will find this out in the second part of this video. So if you are interested, continue watching or jump on to the time code. But do not forget to give this video a thumbs up, like it. No, this is meant by subscribe to my channel and leave a comment on what you think, not my improvisation talent, but more on the topic itself. So I think that's enough for the theoretical part. And now let's go to the screen sharing. So let's kick it off with a side-by-side comparison. On the left side, we have the original Rhasspy-based Piper project, and on the right side, we have this OpenHome Foundation Voice Piper GPL. So if you can see on the left side, the first line, we have this read-only mode since October 2025. The original one, it has been MIT license-based, compared to now GPL version 3, as mentioned on the first part of the video. We have some sort of new syntax of the releases. So now we have version 1.4.1, while compared to the original one, this has more like a timestamp notation. On the old README page, here's no content on the README aspect, just that redirect to the new repository here. But let's take one short look to the releases. We have totally 5 releases, the latest one from 2023 November. We'll take a look if this is still working. Packages for Linux, Mac and Windows. These are, if you take a look to the releases on the new repository from OpenHome Foundation, here are no MSI setup packages for Windows or Debian packages or whatever, zip files containing binary direct runnable code. Let's focus on the new repository from OpenHome Foundation. Let's scroll through the README, and it starts with a pip installer. So as mentioned in the intro part, it's focusing by now more on a Python-based development to make it easier to integrate in existing applications. We have audio samples, demo spaces, available voices, and we can run it pretty basic as always on the command line. A web server process, we can run it natively as Python in a C++ API, and we can train new voices. So doing voice clone, which will be topic of another video in the nearer future. And again, as mentioned in the intro, Mike is currently a one-man show, so the OpenHome Foundation is looking for maintainers. If you are into that topic and interested, please contact them and support further development of Piper. Now let's play around with Piper and start with the command line interface. Let's just follow the linked documentation. By the way, if you are interested in supporting the further development and are not sure what type of complex development structures and development knowledge you have to provide, if you see Mike's last commit message here, more emojis in titles. So as you can see, this is the hard, tough development stuff. For testing, I will use my MacBook M1 system. So let's start creating a Python virtual environment. And activate it. I'm now inside my Python 3.12 virtual environment. Let's just check our Python version 3.12.7. Now let's update some dependencies or some basic packages. And according to documentation, let's just install the Python package of PyPyTTS. Worked as expected. Now let's list all available voices. Looking good so far. So you can see the list of available languages, which according to Mike is hopefully going to grow, even if it's a large list already, starting with the language code and the name of the actual model. Let's download the original voice from the README, so English voice in a medium quality. Let's list. You can see you have two files, the JSON-based configuration file and the ONNX model file, which has a total file size of only 60 megabytes, which is pretty small for a good text-to-speech voice model. And let's do this small test here. Okay, running into an error message, a missing module called pass validate. I guess this has to be installed manually. So let's run pip install pass validate and give it another try. Okay, at least no error message. Let's see if we have, we have this test wav file here. Let's see, test wav, which is a wave audio. Let's give it a listen.
This is a test.
Pretty good quality. So Piper typical, really for a medium model, really good quality. And 60 megabytes of data file. And as you can see here on the lower side, there are binary releases for Linux, Raspberry in different versions. But all these links, I'm not sure if you can see this here, will point to the original Rhasspy project releases. But apart from this one missing dependency, this worked like a charm as expected in the documentation. Next, let's run our web server process and start by installing dependency, as mentioned here. I'm still inside my activated Python virtual environment for Piper. Okay, this did not work. Let's ignore this error message. Maybe it's okay if we just install the PyPyTTS package natively from the previous step. We downloaded the voice already. Now let's run the web server with the previously downloaded voice. And let's hope for the best. Okay, additional dependency missing. This should be easy to fix by running pip install flask. Finished. Port 5000 is in use by another program. Not sure which process this should be, but let's change the port by specifying --port. So let's 5001. Okay, not sure what runs on the original port, but 5001 works. If you try to open it on the browser, you can see the method is not allowed, so a pure GET request seems not to be the right way. And I can remember from earlier talks I had with Michael, he is not that type of a front-end guy. Neither am I. So I totally can understand he's not providing any fancy user interface, but more focusing on the back-end work. Once the process is running, we now can, using curl or I guess any other HTTP requesting framework, and we have to adjust the port to 5001 and make it test web server. And you can see there's something happening on the process, and you can see this GET request here on this side. Let's listen again.
This is a test.
Next, let's take a look to the Python API integration. Installation process pretty same as previously, downloading the voice. So the structure to follow seems to be always identical, which I like. Let's simply take this code snippet here without any adjustments apart from the file path to the voice model files, obviously. I've taken this default code snippet into my IDE, saved it inside the same directory as the venv piper structure we have working in the complete time, adjusted just the path to the model file, and the output name test python1 wave. Welcome to the world of speech synthesis. Now let's see what happens if we run this test py. So no error returned, and you can see this test python1 wave file has been generated in the directory. Let's listen.
Welcome to the world of speech synthesis.
Please let me know what you think, but this works pretty cool out of the box. And for the next test, let's go back to the original repository to test the released binary artifacts. Let's go to the latest release, and as I'm using my MacBook M1, let's download Piper for macOS in the ARC64 architecture. Once downloaded and unpacked, as it's a tar gzip file, let's see the content. You can see files are from 2023, so let's see. Mac is showing some security constraints as Piper is not from a verified developer. So let's switch to a Ubuntu-based Linux virtual machine and test with the Linux installer, it's Linux binary. I'm now connected to my Ubuntu 24.4 system. Let's choose the Linux x86 type, download or copy download link. Let's create a new directory, Piper, download the installer or the file. Let's unzip Piper. And now let's run Piper again. Okay, looking way better. So maybe I give it another try on Mac, playing around with the security constraints. Please let me know in the comments if you would like to see a tutorial specified or specialized for operating system Windows or Mac. I have downloaded the same voice models as in the previous test. So this English medium-based voice here. And now let's run it with the command. So echo, this is a test with a binary from an old repository, piped to the Piper process with that English medium voice model and to save as test binary wave. Works as expected. Let's see if we now have this file here. Now we have the test binary WAV available. Let's check the file type. It is a wave audio, and let's listen to the test binary wave.
This is a test with binary from old repository.
Okay, works with the same model as expected from the old repository. And I guess this is, today's video on Piper after 3 years, and there has been a lot of changes, and I guess there will be more to come. If you like this video, again, give it a thumbs up, share it with other voice technology enthusiasts, and subscribe to my channel if you like this content in general. That's all for today. Have a nice day, and we'll see us next time. Bye!